Welcome to the Calamity Guru channel. You're about to hear groundbreaking research that you've never heard anywhere on YouTube, the internet, and definitely not the news. I'm going to show you how the seismograms, also known as the Heliplots, which is like an EKG or an EEG when a doctor tests the heart health of a patient, how these seismograms can be used to help to see the imminent and impending danger when it comes to World War III, nuclear warfare, martial law, the World Seed Bank, Haarp, the Arctic and the Antarctic, specific world governments, the South China Sea, and more. What you're about to hear has taken me years of research for my book and my new Calamity Guru channel. You are more than welcome to share this information as long as you give credit. If you take this information and portray it as your own, you are in direct violation of intellectual property law. I'm going to begin by playing you President Duterte's video announcement today, press release, regarding martial law, which completely got overlooked by the firing of the Attorney General and the ban on Muslims. Very similar, this reminds me, back in 2015, June 26, when the Supreme Court legalized gay marriage, and behind the sidelines, just the day before, the TPPA got passed, and that's the Trans-Pacific Partnership, for those of you who are not familiar with that. So here you have a massive event that is getting hidden when everybody in the world is so focused on the Attorney General and the Muslim ban, when what you're about to hear is the most important thing going on right now. So here we go. Here he is speaking about martial law today.
You know, I have to protect the Filipino people. It's my duty. And I tell you now, if I have to declare martial law, I will declare it. Not about invasion, insurrection, not about danger. I will declare martial law to preserve my nation, period. My country transcends everything else, even the limitation. Kung gusto ko, but it will deteriorate into something really very virulent, I will declare martial law if I wanted to. Walang makapigil sa akin. And I want to say, why are you declaring martial law? Because I have to preserve the Filipino people and the youth of this land. Pigil sa akin. And I want to say, why are you declaring martial law? Because I have to preserve the Filipino people and the youth of this land.
Now, if you go on over here and you look at these Heliplots, these seismograms from yesterday, you can see here, I'll let you know what the precursor is. It is the Kermitic Islands. There was some activity yesterday. There was a couple fives. Actually, there was quite a few, over half a dozen. But over here, the Kermitic Islands, right over here, this is an area that has had submarine volcanic activity, meaning volcanoes that have erupted below the ocean. And this particular area, also in New Zealand, was very close to what happened back in November the 13th. Now, the Philippines over here, the Celebes Sea, was struck with a 7.3 near the Philippines, Tabuan, Philippines. On January the 10th, it was a 612-kilometer earthquake. I believe that this was a Haarp-related event to force the arm of President Duterte, who just was talking about martial law, and I'm going to discuss with you why I believe this here was a Haarp-related event. You can watch my video where I talk about the world's deepest earthquakes, where I debunked BP Earthwatch, where he says that this is the world's deepest earthquake in history. It is not. However, it is a very deep earthquake. Now, if you look back on November the 13th, you may remember that John Kerry was over in New Zealand at the time, en route to the Antarctic. He met with the president, John Key, of New Zealand, Prime Minister there. The Secretary of State, John Kerry, was meeting with the President of New Zealand, and he did not go with him for a 3-hour trip to the Antarctic, which I find unusual for the world's superpower Secretary of State to be in New Zealand, and the President of New Zealand, Prime Minister, couldn't make it with him for a 3-hour flight. Not very politically correct, if you will. And then shortly after, he resigned. I believe it was a forced resignation, Haarp-related event. Wow, whew, that is a mouthful, isn't it? I'm going to show you why. Now, look at this earthquake here. It was a 7.8. They also had a 6.5, a 6.5, and hundreds of aftershocks. This was a mega thrust earthquake that they had. The seafloor actually lifted up. This was the time that John Kerry went over there.
And I want to salute.
Oh boy, let me close that window. Oh, sorry about that. Let's go back to that. There we go. Nope, where'd it go? Oh my, there we go. All right, I'm going to show you a video here where the President of New Zealand, Prime Minister John Key, resigns in a shocking announcement just after these earthquakes. Here we go.
Yeah, I've tried to be straight and true with New Zealanders. I also believe that leadership change for the right reasons and handled well is good for a political party. For all of these reasons, I told my Cabinet and caucus colleagues of my decision to step down as leader of the National Party and as Prime Minister. It's my expectation that on Monday the 12th of December, National MPs will hold a special caucus meeting to select a new leader, and later that day I will tender my resignation to the Governor-General. This has been the hardest decision I've ever made, and I don't know what I'll do next. But for me, this feels the right time to go. It gives the Cabinet and caucus plenty of time to settle in with a new leader before heading into the next election. With a proud record of strong economic management, a commitment to the most vulnerable in our society, and lots of ideas to keep lifting New Zealanders up in the world. It would be easy for me to say that I've made this decision solely to rediscover the personal and family life I once had, and that is a factor, but is one amongst many. More than anything else in my time...
Alright, now, why do I think that this is a Haarp-related event? Is because, let me let you know a little bit more about this situation here. So, we have John Kerry. He's going over there. He's actually discussing the TPPA, which was in the background during the big announcement by the Supreme Court on June 25th. At any rate, here we have John Kerry going back over there November the 13th, where he is discussing the future of the TPPA with John Key, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which Donald Trump is not in agreement with. I believe that John Kerry was force-arming John Key into certain agreements with it. And here you have, this was a big issue during this visit. Another big issue that is with New Zealand and the United States is the nuclear policy. Now, this is here, and I'm relating why I believe that this event, the 7.8, was a Haarp-related event. I believe it's related to the escalation of World War III and nuclear arms. If you look here, it says that New Zealand's anti-nuclear policy of the 80s was partly motivated by the economic consideration. Further down, we go on to see here, according to the cable's full collaboration between the intelligence agencies of the United States and New Zealand, curtailed by the U.S. in the 80s, because of New Zealand's anti-nuclear policy, were resumed in August of 2009, something both governments kept secret. the U.S. ambassador had concerns that the anti-nuclear legislation had eroded trust in New Zealand, thereby threatening intelligence cooperation. He was reacting to a New Zealand newspaper article which stressed the ambassador's concern that if New Zealand's were expelled from the Five Eyes arrangement, the door would be open to the United States to conduct intelligence gathering operations against the Kiwis, also known as the New Zealanders. The Star Times labeled the then ambassador language a clear threat and a bully tactic, even though the language used made clear that the ambassador was raising a potential concern and did not know whether the aftermath of the anti-nuclear flap would result in expulsion of New Zealand from the signet community. John Key, and the Prime Minister of New Zealand, was upset and embarrassed that U.S. President Barack Obama was too busy to see him, even though Key believed he had a firm invitation from Obama at the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Conference. There was also tension regarding Guantanamo Bay. If you look at one of my other videos where I talk about the inauguration and a tsunami and earthquake and whatnot, I specifically discuss Guantanamo Bay. New Zealand has been against holding Guantanamo Bay detainees. If you would remember that the very first executive order Obama signed was the shutdown of Guantanamo Bay. Put that in stark contrast with what Donald Trump's first executive order was. And here you have Obama 8 years later. He still couldn't even accomplish what the very first thing he signed off to do. Well, so anyway, this gives you a brief overlay of the tension. So you have tension with the Guantanamo Bay detainees. You have tension regarding the anti-nuclear stance of New Zealand. And you also have the TPP regarding the visit with John Kerry, Secretary of State. So there's so much tension going on. And then you have the president mysteriously resigned, the prime minister mysteriously resigned shortly after a major quake in his country. So now I'm going to show you over here how HARP, what is HARP? HARP stands for the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, which is an ionospheric research program jointly funded by the U.S. Air Force, the U.S. Navy, the University of Alaska, and the Defense Advanced Research Project, DARPA, designed and built by the BAE Advanced Technology. I am going to show you how some of these HARP locations show up on the seismograms in another video, what to look for, where they are located. I'm also going to discuss with you the events that took place in in the Atlantic Ocean, off of the Florida coast, and how those are also related to HARP. And then I'm going to discuss with you the forecast for the earthquakes coming up. And what else here? Okay. So, real quick, on January 31st, basically tonight, because we are now on the 31st, and we are going to have geomagnetic storms at 9 o'clock UT time, which I believe is approximately 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we're going to have it again on the 1st, approximately 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I believe therefore that on the 2nd, between the 1st and the 2nd, we will see large earthquakes. Where these large earthquakes will occur, I believe, will have to also deal with the geopolitical tension and where it happens to be most tense at the time, i.e. possible Haarp-related event in correlation to these. So, the areas that I would be of most concern with would be the Philippine area and New Zealand. Those particular areas are on high watch, high alert, and up until the 2nd, from the 1st to the 2nd of February. So basically this Wednesday or Thursday. So there you have it, folks. I'm going to do a part 2 coming up. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, share, and give me a thumbs up. Thank you for watching. You've been watching the Calamity Guru channel. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.